Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo. And over the last couple days, I've been playing a little bit of Alien Isolation, getting ready to do my first impression for the game. So usually I like to sit down and try and play at least 4 to 6 hours into the game, or sometimes just depending on what type of game it is. However, the amount of time I feel where I've captured in my playtime what the game is about, what is it trying to do, some of its flaws, some of its positives, enough to the point where I've experienced what the game really is. Now, there's always that issue that certain games don't open up until late on, and that got me thinking while I was playing Alien Isolation, because I was sort of having an argument with myself while playing the game as to, what was it trying to do? Why, what is going to make this game good? Because right now, the pacing feels off. I feel like I'm just spending a lot of time looking at some really great fan service. And don't get me wrong, Alien Isolation, the first two things you notice about the game is the sound design and the visual design. The game looks absolutely stunning, and it's actually really well optimized for AMD cards. It's actually an AMD optimized game, which we haven't seen in quite some time. So it ran great on my aging 7770. I was able to play the game on pretty much ultra settings. I think everything's just maxed out where it was left off. And during the cutscenes, this game can look jaw-dropping. I mean, you get that bone-chilling feeling, where it starts to become borderline surreal. And it just looks really, really good. Sound design is another area where Alien Isolation excels. The sound design is great. A lot of the iconic sounds from the film are there, of course, because this is a game that is in collaboration with, the actual Fox Studios, the people who own the rights to the Alien series. So those things are most noticeable. Like I said, a lot of really great fan service. I really have enjoyed just walking around the game, looking at the environments, that sort of lo-fi future technology. It is there, it is really well done, and it will definitely put a smile on your face as a fan of the Alien series or as a fan of science fiction in general. Those two areas are where Alien Isolation exceeds instantly. They're also the two things that have really kept me playing the game, because to be honest, I'm about 3 to 4 hours in now, and I've started to get not bored, but slightly frustrated with certain design elements in the game. The stealth mechanics early on, you don't spend too much time with xenomorphs. Of course, you start off just sort of dealing with other humans who are trying to survive on the station just like yourself. And there are moments where the game can be insanely frustrating as to how difficult it will be. And the sort of routes in a stealth game, they usually feel like they don't feel very laid out. It's when you play something like Deus Ex or a Splinter Cell game, good level design will allow the player to figure out what they need to do in order to survive in a stealth situation. You don't have to have your hand held, and those routes don't have to be made extremely obvious. But the issue I've had in Isolation is that those routes often seem extremely inobvious, very difficult and very hard to find. So those were some of the struggles that I was having with it. But what was coming to mind while I was playing this was, just how long should you have to experience something? Should you have to try to get into it, so to speak, before it should become rewarding, before it should become enjoyable? This is something we see a lot in film these days, and television especially. I have a lot of people telling me to watch certain TV shows, and I said I tried. I couldn't, I gave it a whole season I watched, and there was bits and pieces I enjoyed, but it wasn't enough for me to really want to watch it. And they always say, no, you just got to make it to season 2, you just have to make it to season 3. And that's the same mentality MMOs have always had. You just have to make it to endgame. And I think it's the same way with a lot of games these days as well, where people tell you, well, you only played 2-3 hours in, and the game didn't even get good yet. And it's a really great game should pull you in from the start. You should instantly be drawn in. It's not about not doing things in the game. I'm fine that the first 2 to 3 hours of Alien Isolation have been me just walking around, being introduced to characters, because those moments have actually been really well done. But there's just not enough going on to really keep my interest peaked. There's just been too much of me just wandering. The pacing has seemed really off, and it's been hard for me to continue to push on, but I want to enjoy Isolation. So that's why I'm sort of moving forward. And I think to hope that the gamer will look at your game and play it that way, that's kind of cheap. To say that, well, the people are going to want to they're going to, they're such huge fans of the Alien series that they're going to want to, keep playing until it gets good. And I've done that with games in the past, and sometimes, they never actually get to that point where they become enjoyable, and you wasted a lot of time hoping that would happen. Dragon Age 2, for example, was a prime example for me on that one. Just thinking, it's going to open up, You know, these dungeons all can't be copy-paste. Oh, wait, they are, and I already spent like 40 hours in the game. It's a little bit too late now. So that is my concern currently with Isolation. But again, that had me thinking in general for games, you know, as a gamer, talking to you guys and gals out there, you know, how much time will you spend with a brand new experience before you finally put it down and say, no, this isn't doing it for me, you know? How much time will you give a game before you actually just kind of, you know, give your solid stated opinion that, no, this wasn't for me. I played 3 to 4 hours. It still never managed to pull me in. And, you know, are you one of those people who thinks it's acceptable for a game to take, you know, 3 to 4 hours for it to open up and actually become enjoyable? Again, we're not talking about, you know, throwing you into action. You don't have to have action in a game for it to be enjoyable. A game can still be enjoyable without having the player actually engage in any sort of stealth or, you know, action-based mechanics. For example, The Witcher. The Witcher has always been really great at sort of setting up story and introducing characters, and you have these wonderful moments of dialogue and these cutscenes where these characters are just being brought to life and given their own personalities, and you never swing a sword once. But it's enjoyable and you want to keep playing it right from the get-go. You're just sort of drawn in. So that's the question I have for you. How long will you wait around for a game to actually become good, you know, to pull you in, to really say, yeah, this is great, you know? How much time are you willing to give to an individual experience before it finally rewards you, the player, for checking it out? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Let me know your thoughts on the idea of this as a whole, and if you've been playing any Alien Isolation, feel free to let me know how you feel about the game in the comment section below. Again, I'm going to be spending a little bit more time with it before I actually put out my first impressions video for it. We might even do a little bit of Let's Play before that happens. But if there's anything you guys would like to ask me about the game, feel free to do so in the comment section below. And I'll see you in the next one.